Bahrain to the United Nations. If you know your party's extension, please dial it now. So please stay on the line while your call is transferred to the operator. Is not available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone. Press the pound key to end recording.
Yes, this is an emergency call for UN Missions of Foreign Affairs to the Kingdom of Bahrain, Ali Abdul. This is a very, very serious report with international and national security, public safety, and human life at risk. If you could please forward this recorded call to ICC Prosecutor Karim of the International Criminal Court. This is Reverend Lisa Renee Salem, also known as Global Missing Persons Alert, Interpol Yellow Notice Number 21-22733, and I was nearly kidnapped last night and in a highly orchestrated operation against me, and it is only by the grace of God that I am still here and free to make this phone call. After a very, very important conversation with a very well-known and respected pastor friend of mine the night before last night, and after which was about 2 weeks after I had sent him a packet of documents for my own protection in case anything had happened to me, and along with a DVD, a copy of the Truth Train radio DVD. And as soon as I sent him the link that I sent him, my screen on my phone dimmed down to the yellow screen that I get that's supposed to let me know, that's supposed to make me feel intimidated and threatened, okay, and it's by Department of Defense. And then immediately the black choppers came out. I had been sitting on my back patio outside where I sit several hours a morning and night when this happened, and the black choppers came out immediately, low flying, swarming me, and the sky was full of aircraft. I woke up yesterday morning and I left the house on the Livernois bus to 12 and Van Dyke. I have posted a picture of the CIA Macomb County Corporate Council contracted terrorists who had been following me and stalking me, according to international intelligence, because I myself had not previously even noticed him. He was out fixing the sign for Peter Lucido, the criminal of the Macomb County Court prosecutors who allowed a 20-year, 4-time serial rapist off on rape 1 for no other reason to keep me out of a courtroom. He was hanging up his election banners, and I walked up and just in general conversation, and I said, "This guy here," and proceeded to repeat what I just said about Peter Lucido, and he freaked out on me. And he got paranoid, and he started threatening me with false police report and kidnapping, that I was harassing him, and he ran to his car and made sure I seen that he was on the phone carrying out his threat. At that time, I got my phones out of my backpack, and I had to power them on, and I had to wait for them to power up, and then I walked behind his vehicle that was backed in a parking spot, and I videoed his license plate, and he jumped out of his car, and that's the image in the photo that I posted. Anyways, long story short, the video will be uploaded. After that, when I got to the bus transit station in Detroit at 8 Mile and Woodward, they had cops in place. They had undercover cops. They had some kind of radical Nation of Islam role players who were drinking vodka straight out of the bottle and smoking weed right there in the transit, while the undercover cops were in place and 2 Detroit police cops were in their cars. When we got on the bus, the bus stopped on Livernois at some point while the 2 police cars were following us. A Muslim police officer, Detroit police officer with the scarf on, okay, they always got to find the Muslim woman with the scarf to make sure that nobody can say it's religious persecution, but it is, because Muslims are being slaughtered all over the world by Sunni Muslims, okay, and as far as I'm concerned, this commercialized American brand of corporate Islam doesn't count, okay, especially when they're wearing a free Masonic uniform. It really invalidates that scarf on the head. It is religious persecution just the same. She rode on the bus while the cops followed us in 2 cars. When I stopped at my stop at Cortland, she got off with me, and at that point, she got in the car in one of the 2 cop cars, and they proceeded to go on their way, and I walked back home 2 blocks. Then I was sitting on my porch after I got home, and there was a crisis across the street, and the woman had ran out of the house over there and called 911, and she was out in the street waiting for the cops, and she was very distressed. Well, the Detroit cops started coming, and she started running up to their car. They weren't there for her address, so they basically told her, okay, have a good night. This time they were the white cops, okay, the narcissists that run the operation, okay, and they were looking right at me, and after they passed, then they came back up the street at least 1, possibly 2 more times that I seen before I decided I'm going to go back in and I'm going to get on the phone and I'm going to make sure somebody with respected credibility knows about this. I called the pastor and I explained to him what was being orchestrated and what was happening, and that his life is probably in danger too, and that he needs to be very careful. And I had already explained to him that his life is probably in danger in a letter, and that he needs to report that to law enforcement. I feel confident that he probably did. And I got a lot of information coming for the sake of time. I'm going to end this call, and all details and recordings and photos that I do have will be posted to Facebook, assuming that I'm still going to be here free and alive long enough to do that throughout the day today, which I may not be. Okay, this is Global Missing Persons Alert, Interpol Yellow Notice number 21-22733.